Hello and welcome to the Everyday Board Game Podcast. I'm your host Daniel.
And I'm your host Daniel.
And welcome. Today we're going to be doing a compare and contrast episode.
Our board game breakdown.
A board game breakdown, compare and contrast episode for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre board games.
Spooky season is in full and we're like,
that's right.
This is kind of cool because we both enjoy these games.
Right.
Actually, we'll say I enjoy these games more than I enjoy the movie.
Yeah. So oftentimes with movies or games like this, I like to watch the movie especially horror movies, right?
Yeah.
I'll probably watch it beforehand because why not, right? I gotta say, I'm a big fan of horror movies, B-movies, cult classics, all that stuff. Kind of let down. Honestly, I thought it was pretty lame.
This is the first time the wife has ever saw Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I just recently rewatched it, actually today, just to refresh myself with the movie itself when we're talking about it.
Yeah.
Comparison to what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Do these games really give us that board game or the feel of the movie?
Yeah.
And it's only an hour and a half movie.
Yeah.
It feels so much longer.
It does.
Parts of it are great. The last 20, 30 minutes, amazing.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of the movie, not so much.
It's a slow build, if you will. It's a very slow build.
Yeah, but, very slow build.
Thankfully, we have a couple of companies that were devoted to making, good IP and good horror-themed board games that we're going to be comparing today.
One that is for sure about the horror and the IPs and stuff like that, and the other one that dabbled in it. They've only done a couple.
Right, but they focused on IP.
Yeah, they focused on IP.
And that's what I appreciate. They made legitimate
good
IP strategy games. Yeah.
But going back to the movie itself, my big gripe about it too is it's an hour and a half. It's slow. It's plotting. It has issues, and that makes it feel longer. And people are like, "Oh, that's just the way it was. Films were made that way." No. I liked Alien, which was a slow plotting film, and that's a fantastic film.
Yep.
The Shining, another one that is a slow plotting film, which is fantastic. Made around the same time as this movie.
The Fly.
The Fly
did that too.
I think that's 80s though.
It is 80s. Yeah, it was later for sure, but
yeah, but it's a slow plot. I just recently watched all the Universal Monster movies again, and those are not... They're about the same length of time, and they're still amusing to me how good they are comparative to what this movie was. This is by far... It probably didn't help matters that I watched all the Halloween movies, most of the Friday the 13th... You
kind of set the bar, right?
So most of the Friday the 13th movies, because not all of them were out yet, but most of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, because not all of them were out just yet. When I finally did watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre for the first time, I think it was 13. And I was like, this is nowhere as good as those other films.
I mean, I know it was revolutionary, right? It was kind of groundbreaking for what it was. Mid-70s, right, was when it came out. It makes sense, right? Yeah. And I appreciate that part of it. But, this is not a knock on the movies, per se. I mean, kind of it is, right? But... This is more so a celebration of how good these games are. Right. That we are willing to do a breakdown for two different games that came out nearly at the same time.
Same time, yeah.
Yeah. I remember talking with some of the guys from Trick or Treat Studios that they were kind of blindsided when this was announced from Funko Games.
Yeah.
And they're like, wow, they're selling it for half as much as us. That's kind of frustrating,
Yeah.
But... I think these are both two good games that deserve to be in the market, although one's not being supported as much as the other.
Yeah, right? One is harder to find at the moment. So I still find it out in the wild.
Sure.
We've seen it a couple times.
Yep, and that's true with all of our debates. Normally there's two that are similar, but they have those differences. So for the sake of ease on this breakdown, right, where we give people recommendations on which ones that they would like for it, or compare and contrast, who would like which style of game better.
Yeah.
For the sake of ease, the full title of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I don't know if we can see it. Yeah, we can.
Yeah, it's right up in the corner.
That is Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the board game. So we're going to refer to that as the board game.
The board game, yeah.
Okay. Now, the other one, the one made by Funko, is Slaughterhouse family, right?
Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the Slaughterhouse.
Is the Slaughterhouse. So we'll call that Slaughterhouse, just for the sake of making it easy for us to not have to say, hey, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the board game, versus the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Slaughterhouse. You get the idea.
Board game versus Slaughterhouse is just the easiest one.
That's right.
Actually, both of these do really well at what they're doing, and yet they're completely different too.
Yeah,
which is kind of cool. It's it's not like some of the other IP games that came out that are kind of similar to each other. The mechanisms are pretty similar to each other. Yeah. They're completely different mechanisms. One's a full co-op. One is a one versus all.
Yep.
So I like that aspect of it too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one's a lot simpler and like family level or like family weight almost. Press your luck kind of thing.
Yeah, it's
kind
of
one's
interesting.
More strategic.
It's not family level because they do rate it 18 plus.
Right. But as far as difficulty
weight wise,
yeah. All right, so we're ready to get into this.
No, we got to do our news.
I know. I'm saying you're ready to get into this.
But first, the news.
There you go. I'll start first. So, first thing I want to talk about with the news, Dice Throne Vanguard. It's the newest Dice Throne set announced by the company that prints Dice Throne. I think they're just Dice Throne now. I don't think they go through Roxley anymore. I might be wrong on that. Anyway, Dice Throne, the company, they announced their new one. Vanguard looks super cool. Of course, it's probably going to come to campaigns. It'll be more. I'm just kind of putting this on for my own, self-reflection because, I have all the Dice Throne, and I love Dice Throne, and it's awesome, and of course I'm going to get it.
I'm just waiting for X-Men to come in. I've already seen the review for it on the Dice Tower and stuff like that.
You haven't gotten it?
I haven't got mine yet.
Really?
I don't think I have.
Because I've gotten mine, and I've already played mine, I think.
I have Marvel.
Unless I'm thinking the old one.
You're thinking Marvel.
I think I have X-Men.
I might have X-Men. I just missed it.
I will check when I get home, but yeah.
I know I have Marvel Stories, but I don't think I've gotten my X-Men one yet.
Huh. I don't know.
I'll have to look into it, but all in all...
Because I remember playing with Wolverine, unless it's the new X-Men stuff, right?
I don't know. I'll have to check.
I don't know. Either way, I love Dice Throne. We both like Dice Throne.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get the Pogs one. Come on, make that a wider release, please.
Nah.
Anyway, that's my call to you.
All right. My first bit of news is actually an important bit of news here. I don't know if it's changed anything. I haven't updated this when I was looking at it. This was supposed to happen on the 1st of October. You're hearing this later. But Kickstarter was set for strike. The employees were set to strike Kickstarter on October 1st. Workers, they're striking over minimum salary and retaining the rights for the company is trying to retain the rights for a 540 week. The workers still want to have a 432 week or something like that. Just because it's easier to flex. And they want a minimum salary of roughly $85,000. But if everybody knows, New York City Kickstarter is based in New York City. And that is considered low income for people who live in New York City.
Right. So they're making less than that significantly, right?
And so they want to make the minimum salary about $85,000 for the employees there.
Okay.
They're also not requesting anybody boycott the website or withhold any funds from creators and stuff like that just because they're striking.
Right.
They're saying still use it, still support your creators and stuff like that. But they are, as of the 1st, we're going to go on strike. They were set for strike. I haven't seen any update to the news, so we'll see what happens there.
Yeah.
But yeah, Kickstarter workers are set to strike.
Hopefully that gets resolved soon.
Mm-hmm.
Jamie Stegmaier of Stonemaier fame, one of the halves that own the company and the lead developer and designer of Stonemaier, he just released a secret video that was originally recorded in April 25th, 2023, and this came up in my feed, and I thought it was just absolutely a clever thing. He recorded it back in 2023, and he showed his cabinet of secrets, as he called it, where he opened up the cabinet that appears behind him in all of his videos, right, and showed all of the projects that they're working on as a company, and showing prototypes and bits of stuff, and kind of what they're leaning towards, what they're not leaning towards. And he said, I will release this video after all of these games have either been released or about them or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And with the upcoming thing that you'll be talking about soon, that all of the ones in the cabinet were released at the time. Now, in the video, he didn't say anything about doing it again because he did just release the video right now, and this is October 6th of 2026.
Mm-hmm.
He released it a few days ago, but October of 2026 is when he released it.
2025.
Oh my gosh, it is 2025. Yeah. So it's a lot. It's not as in the future as we thought, 2.5 years or something. But he didn't specify in the video if he was going to do another one, right now when he released this current video, which I think he should, and a lot of people in the comments said that. But, I mean, some people kind of alluded to, it's oh, well, you should do it again, right now. and then in a few years from now,
yeah,
let's talk again, right? And I thought that was just such a clever idea. I loved the video. It was so cool. I tried explaining it to my wife while I was watching it. She yawned halfway through it. I gave up, but I think it's clever.
I think the big point about it, too, is where everybody was excited for this one, too, is because the big game that he's been working on for 10 years was still in that cabinet. And he even had the name by then, too. And he hadn't even released the name yet, either, in 2023. So, looking forward to finishing that video. I've only watched part of it. Haven't got it all the way through. So let's go into what you just mentioned, and I'll just skip ahead a little bit. Stonemaier did announce a new game, and that's why he did release that video, because it was the last one that was really in that cabinet that he hadn't released yet. But he has other stuff that's going on too. But the big one is this new trick-taking, tableau-building game called Origin Stories, where we're superheroes or maybe supervillains, because they have the shoot-the-moon aspect of it. Yep. And it's a co-design, I forget with who, I didn't write that down, but it's a co-design of a trick-taking game where you're trying to put a new power out, you're trying to tell your superhero's origin story. I love the art on this one. I think it's the same artist from Wormspan, where it's that color artwork, or the watercolor artwork.
Watercolor, yeah.
Fantastic artwork. It looks pretty cool. You know, I'm a sucker for like good card games and trick taking for that matter. I do enjoy some trick taking. I do like some trick taking games, or card shedding games for that matter too.
Yeah.
But I
love card shedding. That's my.
I also love tableau building games. So I want to see how this is going to look.
He's not going to do this as a simple trick taking, but here's the rule. No, there's going to be something unique about it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. He also announced that they're going to be releasing the Tokaido expansions, which were released under FunForge. What was it called? Crossroads and Matsuri are the two that he's releasing as one that you can put in with their version of Tokaido as well. And there's also going to be 6 packs of 25 cards each for Wingspan, which are unique birds designed by fans of the game that are curated. So you're going to get 6 different packs of 25 cards. So there's a lot of extra cards coming in for Wingspan, plus the expansions for Tokaido, plus his final release of the year in Origin Story. So it's a lot going on here. As of airing for this, for our audio listeners, that should be live. When does this go? This one is supposed to go up on the 20th, so it's supposed to release on the 15th for you to pre-order it and get the discount if you're a champion, or the pre-order discount. I don't know if it's going to be around that long. I think it's roughly just through the weekend that it gets released. So, but you could find it on their website, and I think the store release is sometime in November. So if you order it through them, it's going to release to you pretty early. If you're a champion through them, you should probably be getting shipping notifications for it to be coming to you soon. So that's for our listeners on YouTube side as well. So yeah, Origin Story, the expansion for Tokaido, as well as some designer pack cards for Wingspan.
Cool. Next one is super niche industry news. If you're excited if you're just a player of board games, this will matter zero to you. But G.A.M.E.R, the Game and Manufacturing Association, they're a big group of industry leaders that
also changed their name, by the way.
Yes, I was about to bring that up too. So I remembered it halfway through as you were talking. I'm like, let's bring that up. So there's a whole bunch of news with it. One, they just elected I think they're going through the process of electing a new media manager. Mm-hmm. But the big news that they announced today, John Stacy, he is the main guy. Mm-hmm. He was been in charge for I think 7 years now, and walked him through a lot of the stuff. Except I think a few years ago he stepped down briefly. They hired somebody new, and then he got ousted. That might have been Stefan Broussard of Yellow fame.
I thought...
or something like that.
No, I thought it was Frank West, the designer.
Frank West was part of it for a while, yes. And then he stepped down. And then they brought John Stacy back because he was already involved in the industry. So I think he had been looking to kind of step down anyway.
Yeah,
but he just announced finally after 7 years that he's officially going to step down at the end of his contract. So there'll be a new person ahead of that. But also they renamed their stuff. G.A.M.E.R stood for the Game and Manufacturers Association. Mm-hmm. If you watch the Dice Tower news, you saw that they didn't know that acronym. Why do we? I don't know. But it's not the most obvious thing, right?
We go to G.A.M.E.R a lot.
We go to the expo a lot, right? And so they're changing it now to like the
tabletop gaming association,
gaming alliance, I think,
or
association. Like yeah, but they're keeping the acronym G.A.M.E.R.
I don't get it. I really don't get it. It's fine. I don't mind
brand recognition, I guess.
Yeah, but it's like, why change your name now then if you're going for the brand recognition?
Right.
I don't get it. The Tabletop Gaming Association or whatever it is. It's one thing if they merged with another company, like the people who are the designer ones that are running the tabletop awards and stuff like that, their version of the Yes and Spiels.
Yeah.
But they didn't. They just rebranded themselves, and
right.
it's kind of weird to me. That doesn't really make a lot of sense.
My guess, and this is just speculation, keep that in mind, I'm thinking that Game and Manufacturers Association, a lot of people were assuming video games were involved. And I know that that's been an ongoing issue that they've had over years. And the reason I know that is because so many years ago, like 10 or so years ago, a friend of mine who was running a board game channel as well, and I was helping them out with that, we went and they were kind of looking for sponsors for it. And there was a company that was obviously going, like they showed up at G.A.M.E.R. And they were selling energy drinks, right?
Yep.
It was basically like kind of like a different version of like Gatorade or something.
Or it's kind of like...
and they wanted product placement involved in that. But it was very clear that they were aiming for a video game market.
Yeah.
But they're like, well, I guess we'll see if we can do tabletop games too if we're already here.
Yeah.
And so they accepted it, but then they never heard from the company. It was really weird, but that was just one of many examples of that where I'm sure people have been that level of confused.
Yeah, and the thing is, they're both games, but they're deciding to go tabletop gaming. I'm like, just add tabletop to your name. Say the tabletop gaming and manufacturers or something like that.
Yeah,
G.A.M.E.R. Yeah, there you go. Or the games and manufacturers of tabletop. So this way you could do the gamut.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree with you, but
a little weird, but again, very specific industry stuff. Feel free to skip past that part.
All right.
I said it at the end.
Hey, guess what? More industry stuff here. Honestly, this is an ongoing thing with us. I've been talking about this news ad nauseum since it's been really all the different announcements. So this is another downfall of CMON in the sense when we're seeing a sinking ship right now. We'll see what we'll see what happens. Hopefully they can right their ship, but this is not looking good. They just recently bought Hell and Anastar from Mythic Games back in the day. And now they're selling it to Dope Panic Games. They just sold the IPs that they just bought by Mythic, like a year and a half ago?
Something like that. Wasn't long.
It wasn't that long ago, saying, you know what, we need to fix these and then maybe put them back on GameFound or Kickstarter or whatever they were going to use at the time because they're still in a contract with one company or another.
Yep.
And then they just immediately sell them off, go along with everything else they sold out, like Zombicide, the Blood Rage, all the Eric Lang trilogy, Ankh, Rising Sun, stuff like that. Starcadia Quest, or Arcadia Quest, they got sold as well.
Yep.
Not only that, they've only just recently announced some news for the DC Superhero United. They've also just announced some tariff charges on Dark Providence and the Marvel United... Witching Hour or something like that, which was the exclusive to San Diego Comic-Con. And then they put some pre-orders for everybody else to buy later. And so, yeah, that's what's happening. The tariff charge wasn't ridiculous for the Witching Hour. It was like 69 cents or something like that. And my Dark Providence charge was $2 and something. So it wasn't...
Your charges may vary.
Yeah, your charges may vary depending on how many you bought. Yep. But my charges were only this much based on the tariff charge. Because I only bought one of each.
Yep.
The other big thing about too is they're saying no other major news to come out other than just some of the white stuff they're doing, but they haven't even gotten into full production for the DC Superhero United. However, they just released with Spin Master a solo copy, base copy of DC Superhero United Batman Hush, which has a Batman character in there, a Superman character, and a couple other characters in there, but it's based on the Hush IP, which is kind of cool. We've actually played it. I've enjoyed it. We got our butts kicked handily. This is. I don't know how you make this one a base game and then make the hardest boss fight in the very beginning.
Have you played the other boss fights?
I haven't.
Do you know that that's the hardest boss fight? Because what if they're way harder?
I heard Hush is a little bit more difficult than that one, but they're saying like the Harley Quinn Joker is not much more difficult. I just saw the review from Dice Tower.
I'm just curious. Like, I wonder if that was the easiest of the options. I'm like, wow. They're not taking it easy on you now. Get good, right?
Yeah, get good. But I did like it. I do like that Batman Hush. I do like the DC United. I love the Marvel United system.
Yeah.
And the DC Superhero United system is just the same thing, but with DC characters, which you can add into your Marvel characters, but you're not supposed to. But they can't say that, but you can.
Yeah, but you can.
But you can. But
let's be real.
It's really cool. But unfortunately, it does not look like we might have C-Mon much longer unless somehow they have someone come in saving them, because again,
and the scary thing is like all these United stuff are coming in with Spin Master, which thank you to Spin Master for helping support the thing, right? You know, it's not C-Mon alone though.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is like the big stuff with the DC, that's all C-Mon. It just Spin Master. They pay Spin Master for the licensing, right? Yeah. Some of the other stuff is the smaller stuff where Spin Master is like, okay, we can sell this for $30 and stuff like that. That's why if you go to their Kickstarters, all their Marvel United and all their DC United, there is stuff that you can only buy in the Kickstarter. Yeah. That's where C-Mon is trying to make their bread and butter aspect of it. And it's not working out for them so well because they not only just bought 2 IPs, they just sold those said IPs, not to mention all the other bread and butter that they just sold just to help the loss. Last bit of news last month, I talked about how they were projecting $8 million in losses. I don't think these 2 games are going to cover those losses, especially since these 2 games have not even come out yet. Yeah. These 2 games collapsed one company, another company bought them, and now that company is in the hole. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, C-Mon's continuing issues is... And I feel bad for all the backers and stuff like that, including myself. I have a lot of money tied into these games, and so I'm hoping I get my stuff, but we'll see.
We'll see. That's the risk of Kickstarter, right?
Yeah.
That's why you click the... I accept the risk of Kickstarter now.
Yeah.
The last thing I had for news is our friends over at Level 99 Game. Well, real quick, let me preface something. Before board gaming, right, you really only had like a deck of cards. You might have had like a copy of Monopoly, like all this stuff. I'm not talking to us. Like, I'm talking 150 years ago, right? And a deck of cards was kind of your main component, right? If you were having fun, being entertained, you could have a deck of cards and that'd be it. Well, along with that, there was a lot of books that came out called like Hoyle, the Complete Guide to Different Games, and they would have just rules for hundreds of games in it that you could play with a standard deck of cards.
Yeah.
Since we are now in the hobby, that's not really a thing, but I still collect books like that from time to time if I find like some cool old niche ones or every once in a while, or if it's like a compendium of ones that are written by somebody in the industry or somebody from the industry, like Sid Saxon. He wrote a number of those collection books that would use like standard things, but it'd be like different, like lesser known games, and it like a gamut of games is one that he developed of games that he designed. So, flash forward to today's day. Level 99, Brad Talton, the owner of Level 99, he's a friend of ours, so keep that in mind. Well, he did not ask us to say this, but he started picking my brain a couple years ago because I collect playing cards. And so he was like, hey, so, like, let's talk about playing cards. And so I more or less got him addicted into them. And ever since I knew he already liked playing cards, but I gave him a lot of outlets to, collect. And now he probably has way more decks than most people should, right?
But not compared
Partially my fault. I admit this, right? But that was all not for nothing, right? And this was a project that I remember us talking about like last year or early this year. I want to say last year. And he kind of alluded to this. Well, now he designed a series of games that are based off of tarot decks of cards. And he made a compendium of 22 games called the Dealer's Tarot. And they are all just a collection of just different games, different player counts, different styles of games, different things that he has in there to play. And he's going to do a campaign for it. I think it's going to be a Kickstarter where you could get a book and one of their custom decks of cards. And they have a bunch of different series of cards. They are tarot specific, but that's part of it. I have played a handful of these games. All of them have been awesome. Like, I really genuinely like them if you like classic card games. Now, and again, full disclosure, he did ask me for some kind of permission because one of the games was inspired by a game that I designed. And so he did ask me for permission to that, which is awesome. His version is great. So go check that out, right?
He's talented.
It's a take on matches, right? So he uses a lot of that like give and take with it, I think. I think it still made it in the book. I'm pretty sure. I haven't double checked it, but yeah, so shameless self-promotion, right? But either way, he's a friend of ours. Go support it. Like this is just a passion project. This is less about, hey, I'm pushing out a game to make like crazy amounts of money. I know this will make bank, so here's what we're doing. Here I'm just instead of doing cash grabs, which they don't really do anyway. All their stuff is solid, but it's still like, you know, he's doing this 100% as a passion thing. People don't buy collections of games. They don't tend to buy books anymore. No, I mean like what I mean is like compendiums, like 20 games in one, right? People don't really buy compilations. That's the correct term. What do you buy compilations? Where do you have? I know you buy series, but I don't think you buy compilations, no?
Compilations?
Yeah, where it's like, hey, buy this one thing and it can play 20 different games.
I have one somewhere around here. I don't know where it's at.
Exactly. One out of, right. So it's not a thing that is very marketable. So please go show your support by doing that.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I agree. Level 99 are great people. Brad is a fantastic person. But it sounds really cool. I do like...
You haven't played any of these, I know.
But I like simple little card games and those compilations.
I'll have to bring the book sometime.
It was funny because I was joking with you and I was like, you have like a bunch of compilations. You have that dice one.
No, I do. Yeah, the dice one that Steve Jackson did. Yeah. I have like the system, the tabletop system or whatever it is, and it has like just generic tiles and
I do still buy compilation stuff. I don't buy like game compilations.
Rare, yeah.
But I have a bunch of like compilation books, like a lot of short stories and stuff like that put together.
Oh, sure.
Like I have like the Witcher compilation where all the little poems and the short stories.
But I feel like that's different, right? Is because like
you just said it's a compilation. It's like different stories.
No, I know, but like what I'm saying though is like the authors that make sense, right? It's like, oh, I want to get like if this author that's famous, like Stephen King, right, for example, wrote a bunch of short stories. That makes sense. It's like, yeah, it's a bunch of short stories that he did. He's not going to sell those individually. That doesn't make sense, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas like in the industry, I know he has.
No,
right? He could.
I have the body as just a short story, but what I could also get in a compilation.
What I'm saying is that in my experiences, I have found that in the board gaming industry, not just gaming, but in the board gaming industry, is that it's kind of looked upon from industry people that if games were solid enough to be on their own, then they should be on their own. And compilations are looked down upon because of that.
Yes and no. I think a big part of it is because someone took that risk. Was it 504? And there was like two
you can't
or
just 504 for this.
Huh?
You can't.
But there's others that did it too. But 504 is the more famous one, and there's like 2 or 3 good games out of that entire compilation.
Exactly, but that's the risk you do. Is like if I'm spending all this money for a compilation of 20-something games, odds are, there might be a handful of good ones, but I'm spending money on a lot of. But
he's going about it in the right way because the 504 is a compilation of basically product stuff.
Yeah,
that is going to cost you $60.
Right.
Whereas this one is like, this is all the games you can play with this deck of cards.
Yeah.
So you're buying the deck of cards plus the 20 different games. Whereas when you're buying the complete system that, we need this part for this game, but you don't really need it for this game.
Right.
Whereas I'm still playing one game with one deck of cards, and I can play that a different game with that same deck of cards. It is
definitely an homage to like those classic.
The Hoyle, yeah.
Yeah, it's like you could buy a deck of these tarot cards, and you could also have a book that will give you
different games
X number of different games to play with it that have all been designed out of a labor of love, which I appreciate.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, my last bit of news is some game stuff announcement here from the people that we enjoy a lot of their stuff, as you can see behind me. We are also a big fan of their things. We have to thank them once again. They gave us a review copy of Detective, which Dom really enjoys. we enjoyed it too. Yes. But that was his
Detective
that's the one that's what you get to go with.
Dope.
Yeah. To the point where I want to pick up a copy for myself.
I've been thinking about it. Yeah. I don't think I'd ever get it to the table, but I've considered it.
Yeah, I think my other group would play it well.
Yeah.
Because you could do... There is a strictly co-op version of it.
Yeah.
But I love where some person is a the storyteller, and just make it fun for them as well as yourself, and that kind of thing. Is I really did enjoy that.
The same thing like Nyctophobia had. It's it's really easy to capture these people and make them lose. That's not the point.
Yeah.
Have fun.
All right, so the big one here is we're just talking about Detective. They are starting the pre-orders for the newest expansion, Heist and Heartbroken.
Specifically, Detective City of Angels.
Yes. Sorry, Detective City of Angels. I just have it down as Detective Expansion. Right.
I'm just clarifying.
But it is Heist and Heartbreakers on GameFound, so if you want to go check that out, you can look it up there. They also have a new Final Girl, because they're just doing individual packs now, instead of like the big Kickstarter, and they may do a big compendium Kickstarter for all the stuff that they released. I have the first one that came out with it, Bad Times in Buddyland, which is their Five Nights at Freddy take. The newest one coming out is Rotten Harvest. I believe you can pre-order them now. I have the email in my email, so I'm probably going to do that myself when we get paid. They are also going to have signed copies for The Enemy's Lover, The Crown of Elfhane for pickups at Essen, but only pickups from the author. They're signed copies from the author that you can pick up at Essen. And then there is a pumpkin carving contest, which will be, by the end of this, will be done, because they need to get it done by 10/19. But you'll win a copy of Rotten Harvest with an oversized mini. So if you're watching us live, if you want to join that, go and check that out. But they are doing, they are giving you the stencil. You carve the pumpkin, and they'll do a pumpkin carving contest. Winner has already been drawn as of yesterday.
As of the recording.
So there's that. But yeah, some really cool stuff coming from Van Ryder. One little quick shout out as well, because this just came out on the news that it is going to be releasing tomorrow as of recording. But also, it should be still live on Kickstarter for you. Tenpenny Park is getting an expansion by Thunderworks Games, so I just wanted to throw that out there for everybody.
Cool.
You can get a big box. It's got 2 expansions coming out. One that is a Christmas Halloween style game, and then another expansion plus the big box. So that is coming out on the 7th of October. It should still be live on Kickstarter as this airs.
Cool. Alrighty, let's get into today's episode. We are going to be doing a compare and contrast board game breakdown episode for the 2 Texas Chainsaw Massacres that are pretty recent. I think there might have been one before, but
the good ones.
Yeah, the 2 ones that really had a lot of effort put into them.
Yeah.
Instead of just cash grabs. If there was an older one, I'm not calling you a cash grab. I'm just saying you're probably a cash grab.
Yeah.
So we're going to do our board game breakdown. The way we do this is really simple. We, just like as if we're debating these 2 games, we're going to talk about our 5 gamer criteria. And with those gamer criteria, we're going to break down, kind of give you recommendations on who would probably like which of each kind of game based on those criteria. And hopefully that'll help you decide when it's coming up to spooky season, if you see both those sitting next to each other in the store, which one you should buy.
So the big thing about these 2 games is they may share an IP, but they are different in their gameplay style. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the board game, as we mentioned earlier, is a fully cooperative game that is bag building. Yep. You're basically trying to push your luck aspect of it. It's the simpler of the mechanisms.
Yep. Scott Rogers, I believe, is the designer of it.
Yeah, yes, Scott Rogers.
And it's a press your luck bag building.
And it's Trick or Treat Studios that made this one. And this is a push your luck aspect. It is purely co-op. Yep. You're playing most of the main characters from the game, as well as some characters that were in the movie as well. We'll get into that in a little bit.
Yep.
But you're doing that. The other one, which is Texas Chainsaw Massacre Slaughterhouse, from this point on, we're going to be calling it Slaughterhouse just to help us out.
Yep.
This is a 1 versus mini game. So think of stuff like Fury versus Dracula, the Descent. What is the other one? The Star Wars one. I can't think of one. Yeah, the Star Wars one, or another Trick or Treat Studios, Halloween, where one player is playing the Slaughterhouse family, whereas everybody else is playing the Trespassers. I think that's what it's called in Slaughterhouse, where you're playing basically the victims in that game.
Yeah, and also to add to that, so the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the board game, is a really simple, press your luck kind of bag building kind of thing, whereas the Slaughterhouse was more of a scenario based. There's multiple scenarios, multiple ways of winning, depending on how you want to play it out.
Yeah, exactly. But those are
it was designed by Prospero Hall Team or Funko Games at the time.
And then Texas Chainsaw Massacres is, again, we said Trick or Treat Studios. Both are fantastic looking. One is cheaper than the other, so there is that. If price points is an issue, Slaughterhouse will be
retail is
half of what the board game is. Mm-hmm. But that board game, man, that when we get into the art and production aspect of things, this is going to be a really tough one.
We got some talking points. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So let's get into our first criteria, game immersion. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we'll flip the coin and we'll talk about the points that we like to talk about for this. So game immersion, what that's specifically talking about, first off, is the game fun to lose? The player interaction, like role-playing, table talk, like stuff that brings out the theming of the game. Of this one. It's not required, but that's where we put helpful. Into that. And the memorable moments, like the parts that just make you stand up and go, oh my gosh. You know.
And to the point, I was telling you about this, and I don't know if I mentioned it at the top of the thing. Yeah. I just recently rewatched the movie as of today, just to see if these games really give that feel when we're talking about like the memorable moments or the player interaction. Is it giving you that Texas Chainsaw Massacre feel?
Right, exactly. So the movie was pretty revolutionary. I mean, it was pretty gory, you know, and basically, you know,
compared to nowadays, it's not even that gory.
Yeah. Spoiler alert: we're going to talk about the theming of the game.
Yeah.
If you haven't watched the movie, it's like 50 years old right now, or something like that. I think it was in
1974, 5, somewhere around
21 or 51 years.
Yeah.
So if you haven't seen it, pause it right now. Just go watch it, and then
it's on Netflix if you want it.
Yeah, in the U.S. Yeah. So all right. So let's talk about the theme of the movie, right? Mm-hmm. So again, spoilers. You're gonna hear about it. Basically, these friends that are all going out to a cabin in the woods, more or less. They're on a road trip in this van. They run out of gas, and they meet up with a guy who has like a convenience store, barbecue kind of thing, right?
1974.
74. So 51 years. Cool. So he's kind of like a barbecue cook. Like that's kind of an ongoing thing with it. Because you later find out that, you know, he's chopping up people because of the Slaughter family and putting them in the food, you know, so that's lovely. But you don't fully know that until, like, the end, right?
Well, it's more along that you don't even realize that they're cannibals until, like, later films. Right. It doesn't really discuss all that cannibalistic part of it.
Oh, I never claimed that they ate it.
Yeah.
I'd say they were heavily implied that they put them in the meat. Mm-hmm. And so they end up, like, leaving this place because it's kind of creepy. One girl, I think, almost gets abducted or something. Forgive me if I'm wrong on that. Oh, no, that's later. That's later, yeah. So they end up finding the Slaughterhouse, which, of course, this shop owner is also part of the family.
You don't realize that till later.
Yep, you don't realize that till later. And then you find Leatherface, which is based off of a serial killer, I think, from back in the day.
Way back in the day. It's funny, speaking of which, going back into that one, the serial killer that the Leatherface is based off of, based off a bunch of movies are based off this one killer. Psycho.
Yeah.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yep.
There was one other one that I couldn't think of the name of right now, but there's like 3 major movies that Ed Gein is the serial killer that they're talking about.
So, I mean, of course, he was unfortunately part of folklore, you know. But, you know, alas. And so, essentially, these people are trying to find their keys, refill their van, and get out, which thus the premise of the games that we're going to be talking about today. Mm-hmm. So, when we talk about game immersion, what is going to bring out that tension of like, you know, trying to escape these like terrible things that are coming after you? I mean, we know that they're killers and stuff, more or less human.
Do we though?
Well, right, more or less human. Your results may vary. Yeah. Right. There's a ever going force that these people are trying to escape from. Mm-hmm. And in this game, I want to talk about the board game first. That's my pick for as far as theming goes, because first off, I've always loved press your luck mechanisms in a board game, and especially with co-op. Press your luck co-op is the most tense thing that you can have in most board games, because if you're looking at it like, dude, we really need to get this, but I was like, but I don't want to pull this.
I need actions.
Yeah, but I need these actions, and it's so tense. It brings out that thriller aspect of the movie. Mm-hmm. I think it brings out the immersion quite a bit if you are playing all on this co-op side, right? Yeah. You know, it feels that way. There are some reasons not to feel that way, but Slaughterhouse on there, since one player is playing the Leatherface and the family, they really feel like the ongoing force constantly chasing these guys down.
And
in a way.
That's my big issue with both of these games, is that one does give me that tension filled, whereas the other one, if you're playing the Slaughterhouse family, you're not getting that tension. Everybody else is. You're giving that tension to other people. You're like, oh, this is really cool. I can do this and I can do that. But also, that one tends to be a little bit lucky, too, because it's all based on the card play that you have to do and how it draws up with that aspect. And the dice that are also really cool. We'll get into that when we go into art production. Yep. But you're not getting that feel. You're really the only one that's in the Slaughterhouse. If you're playing the Slaughterhouse family, where you're feeling the role-playing aspect of it. I'm not feeling that tension. Just like, okay, his characters are over there. I don't know what cards he's having. Maybe I should just go over here just to be safe and stuff like that. Even though you're both looking for the gas and the keys in both of these games, based on the scenario. Like we were talking about it earlier, the Funko one has different scenarios. We've only played the one.
Yes.
I've only played the one.
Yeah.
But I agree with you that I get more of that tension because you're going in through this fantastic bag, by the way, and you're like, okay, I just pulled out bones. All right, I push my luck. I need an action because I get my 2 free move actions, but that's it. I need an action for I can trigger some of my stuff, including my special ability. Pull another thing. Okay, that's a Leatherface one. Leatherface is activating now. This is not good. He's getting close to, damn it, Dom's character over there, so we got to be careful what we're doing. Pull another one out. Ooh, I still haven't got an action, and that is my second bones. And so, once you get 3 of one kind, you're done.
Yeah,
you're done.
Unless it's action tokens.
Unless it's action, yeah. Anything non-action tokens. But yeah, so it's like that push your luck, that tension. You're like, do I pull another one? I haven't had an action yet. So, it's fine if I pull another one because I'm not going to be able to do anything anyways. But if I pull another Leatherface, that activates Leatherface. And if I get a third Leatherface, we make him faster.
Right. There's also 2 more things that I think are worth knowing. First off, in the Slaughterhouse game, since it's scenario-driven, one player who's playing the family lays down like these traps. And they put down like little hidden tiles that kind of let you, if you have to go in that spot, well, let's just see what happens. And you can kind of play mind games with it. But it's a much more strategic game. And what I mean by that is that you can look at the whole map and go, okay, you should do this, I can do this. I know you have to hear this, so you can kind of do this. But this is where we should diverge, and we should see what happens on these parts. And you can kind of pre-plan, because you see the whole state of the board, which I think is a disservice to the theme. Because in the board game, you are scavenging in 2 different ways. Tokens are all over the board, they're all face down, you're figuring out where the items are.
And you're adding them to the bag.
And when you add them to the bag, you're going to have an idea of what you're doing on your turn, but you're still trying your best to scavenge out the best tokens you can. And I feel like that ambiguity, how would I describe it? That sense of just unknowing is way more thematic in my eyes. But then secondly, the one that I really want to point out is the You're Dead cards. When you die in the board game, it gives you a little, it's just flavor text. It's like, you were turned into an award-winning chili. Oh, that's cool. They didn't need to do that, and I love that.
Though I will say this about the big thing about these 2 games is that the Slaughterhouse is based on the series of movies, since the different scenarios. That's where you'll learn more about the Slaughterhouse family and stuff like that. Because there is multiple Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies, remakes and stuff like that. So it's based on a series of movies, whereas the board game is based just strictly on the first
original
movie. Yes. But I agree with you. For me, more that immersiveness of the games comes from the board game because of that tension from the bag pull. Oh no, I pulled a Leatherface and now he's moving and he's busting through doors with his chainsaw. Oh no, we have more family members coming out, so we have all these different characters coming out and stuff like that. So it's very interesting how this pulls out the tension from that movie. Whereas I didn't really feel all that much. And I got more frustrated with Slaughterhouse than any other reasoning is because it's like, I can't get the cards that I need when I'm playing the family. And I can't get these in the areas that I'm going. And then putting traps on the board. I just recently watched the movie. They don't put any traps on the board.
No. Maybe in like some of the later ones.
Yeah, so... It's like it doesn't really make as much sense when it comes to the immersiveness and making you feel the theme coming out.
Right. I agree.
All right, moving on.
So if we had to like obviously we're giving more of a recommendation. If you want the immersive theme on it, the board game.
The board game, yeah.
Art and production. You ready for this?
That's going to be a fun one. When we're talking about art and production, we're talking about the art, which we know is subjective.
Yes.
But some art is better than others, though both of these have fantastic art in them. Mm-hmm. They hired some really good people for this one. No screen captures, but you can see they got the basis from the movies, and they had artists draw that up.
Yep.
The pieces and components, both of these games are fantastically produced. I think one is slightly better than the other, and actually costs cheaper to an extent. And then the graphic design. Him and me are both colorblind. We need to be able to read the board, and both of these do that pretty darn well.
They both do a good job.
So the reason why I said the pieces and components when it comes to Slaughterhouse, the dice
look
like
so grotesque.
Yeah, look like spinal columns.
Yes.
So fantastic.
Yeah.
You have the nice little like barbecue tray thing where you put your tokens in the Slaughterhouse.
Super unnecessary.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's a great component.
That is such a great component.
But you have to build it yourself. Whereas everything comes out of the box already made for you. It's fine, but
but you have to unshrink wrap it all in the Funko game.
No, it's not even shrink wrapped. You have to take the stickers off the sides.
Oh, yeah. It's so annoying.
The other thing about it too, both have great art, so that's a wash. If anything,
art is a wash.
The art is fantastic. Another good thing about this one is even though they have the dice in there and they have that chainsaw board.
The chainsaw board is cool.
That's really cool.
Yep.
But the board game has that freaking fantastic bag.
It's called the grotesque bag. Yeah. It looks like it's stitched together, human skin stitched together. It's designed in a way where it's like a column, so it will stay up on its own. It's really thick pleather, and on the inside it's lined with like a blood red silk.
Yeah.
That bag is so unnecessarily awesome. I mean, you need to pull stuff out of the bag. It's big. It works well with the tokens. You don't get the tokens lost. Mm-hmm. It stands up on its own. You don't have to worry about it falling off. It's drawstring just in case. And it looks amazing.
It does.
That component alone, I think, throws everything on Slaughterhouse. Like, the dice are cool. Sure. Yeah, that's it though. But
my issue
that isn't even comparable.
My issue with that too is like I think you get like one mini in Funko. It's the Leatherface. You get a mini.
Yeah, the family. Yeah,
the family. Yeah, they have miniatures.
Everything else is
it's all cardboard and thing. Unless you want to buy the minis off Trick or Treat Studios for there, but then you have to paint the minis and stuff like that. Yeah. If you want to do that, I agree with you. The bag is really really nice. But it's mainly just cardboard pieces. Right. Like the tokens that you're pulling, of course, you want them to be cardboard.
But that barbecue tray is so good.
The barbecue tray is fine.
It's functional.
I can go to Rudy's and get me a barbecue tray.
Yeah, and you would, right? Yeah. Like, that makes sense. But the fact that they include it with you, like, you could tell that they really cared about it.
But here's my issue with that, too. Yeah. It is a component that is not necessary.
It is functional.
It's functional.
Because you're putting your tokens into it.
But it's not necessary. I could just put my tokens on my board. Compared to everything that you're using in Funko, everything is... The Slaughterhouse one is used in that game.
That's fair.
The other one is just functional. It's not necessary.
Yeah.
Where everything else is necessarily need to be used, which correlates to the graphic design aspect of it. Everything is used and everything's out there for you to see.
Yeah.
But I don't know. This to me is a wash. It's like
it really is.
If you want one that is slightly cheaper with great components, then Slaughterhouse is the one that you should go for because it's roughly half the price.
Yeah.
If you want one that just has really cool stuff like that bag, which is amazing,
dude, that's what causes people to, like, if they see like Texas Chainsaw Massacre Slaughterhouse, they're gonna be like, oh, okay, that's Texas. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Those dice are cool, right?
Yeah.
But if you see that grotesque bag sitting there and you're walking by, you're like, what is that?
I do have an issue with that bag though. It's not in the movie.
Well, sure.
The grotesque bag that you see in the movie from The Hitchhiker is made out of like roadkill, so it's like furry and stuff like that. Right. So it's like, it's not part of the movie. It's cool, but it's not part of the movie.
But the barbecue tray was.
The barbecue tray was.
So that's even arguably worse than that. Yeah, agreed. It's basically a wash, but they're both phenomenal.
Both phenomenal. Yeah. So also, like, if you want one that's cheaper, and if you want to and make yours a little bit more blinged out in the board game, you can buy the minis if they're still on sale on Trick or Treat's website. Yeah. They keep bringing them back in stock.
And I personally want to point out, I think Texas Chainsaw Massacre, unless I'm forgetting some, I think that is the best components in all of their line, personally. Like that grotesque bag in the tray, I think that's probably the best component.
Most of everything else is kind of like what we were talking about. Is basically just cardboard and stuff like that.
Cards, cardboard.
What is it? Standees? Those are what they're called.
Standees, yeah.
You know what I want them to get away from is the miniatures and bring out acrylic standees. That's why I can have that artwork in acrylic. That would be fantastic. I would buy that.
That'd be good. All right, let's go move on to meaningful choice. Here we go. And so meaningful choice breaks down into three things. First off, impact on other players. Depth of strategy, tactics, or skills. Do arbitrary choices or AP matter? This is the easiest one for me, without a doubt. And there's, as much as we're praising the board game right now, there is some functional flaws in the game.
There's also a lot of luck, too.
Yeah, it's a lot of luck. Yeah,
it's a push your luck aspect of the game.
Which brings out the theme, but there is some actual functional problems with it that we'll talk about. You know, if you've listened to our channel before, you know Funko, Prospero Hall, the design group, they make very solid stuff. You're not going to have a loss for this. They had a lot of love, a lot of thought put into it. The scenarios make a lot of sense.
You also got to think about the fact, too, it's like a design team versus one designer with people that can help you
develop it a little. I don't think it's worth pointing out like all of the pros of Slaughterhouse. It's very good. If you want that scenario, if you want that style, if you want a good game, that's going to be your choice. Not saying that the other one's a bad game. I'd think Slaughterhouse is just functionally
there's more meaningful choice in it. Yeah. I do have one issue with Slaughterhouse. It does have one major issue.
Yeah, and you experienced this, yes.
Well, that and the AP.
Sure, yeah.
And the experience of it, too, where the cards are just not getting me the right, where I need to go. But the AP, when someone's playing a Slaughterhouse, and I don't really fall into a lot of AP, but I can see some people getting that AP, because it's like, here's the cards that I can do my actions, so I don't really have much choice. But a lot of times I can see people be sitting there like, if I do that, and I could do that, and I can do that.
How many times can I move versus where am I going? If I do move in here, I guess I can hide, but...
So you don't really have that issue in the board game when it comes to the AP, because it's just to pull tokens out. I can move... This is everything you do. I can move 2 times for free, as long as I'm not fully injured.
Yep.
For free. That's fine. Then I pull tokens out of said bag and lay where they are. And I'm trying to get actions out of that bag for me to trigger my actions. Yep. You can get no actions to maybe 3 or 4, depending on how many you pull out of the bag. Mind you, there's only 2 that start in said bag.
Yeah. So the most you get is 2.
2 at the very beginning, So that is the thing. It is a very lucky game. So there is arbitrary choices in there.
Yep.
But there's a lot of AP in Slaughterhouse as well.
Sure. Yeah. So I mean, you're going to be sitting for probably like an hour or 2 at least for that. It's about a 30-minute, 45-minute game for the board game. Yeah. So the Slaughterhouse is just longer just because of all that. But let's talk about the flaws because this is the big thing. There's 2 big problems that I have with the board game, and the parts that I'm still not sure if they're right or wrong, because one, as you're pulling up tokens from the board, they go into the bag more or less, and you get to see what they are. One of the characters can flip them face up, so obviously if it's a bad one, you don't do it, right?
Franklin.
Yeah, that's a good move, right? It's a very good move. There is only exactly enough Slaughterhouse family tokens in the game as there is on the board, and that's what spawns the different family members. Leatherface comes out first, which actually it's
Leatherface is always out.
Leatherface is always out, and then it's Grandpa, and then the Hitchhiker. No,
Hitchhiker's last.
Yeah, and so, like all that makes sense. They come out later on, which is opposite of Funko, the Slaughterhouse, which we'll talk about in a minute. But
thematically, the board game has it right.
Yeah, the board game has it right. Yes, exactly.
Except for
it doesn't.
Yes and no.
How you meet the characters, right?
How you find out that they're the family is how you get it. You meet the character, you meet the hitchhiker first.
I see what you mean.
Then you meet the old man for that. Then you meet the Leatherface.
Yeah.
However, Leatherface is the first one you get to see that he is the member of the family and he's doing all this stuff.
Yeah.
And then everybody else is starting to reveal they're also part of the family.
Right. That's it takes place right when they've discovered Leatherface, right? Whereas the opposite is true for that. But the thing is, if you flip up a Slaughterhouse family token face up and you know that it's in there, you will never put that in the bag ever.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a choice. Because if it's face up, you choose if you want to put it in a bag, which means that the hitchhiker may never spawn, and you can control that. That is a flaw in my eye. I think there should have been more tokens.
I think the issue with the and I agree with you, but if it flips up, I think it goes to the board. I think that's what it read in the rules is that.
And again, like the rules aren't clear on that, and that's so I may be playing it wrong. That's fair. If I am, then that fixes that problem. The second one though is the objective cards. If you want an advanced game, which I normally do, because actually the base game is pretty easy.
Pretty simple, yeah.
If you play with the objectives, I normally deal out one to every player, or maybe two, or a couple more.
And let them choose, yeah.
Yeah, let them choose, right? There's a couple of those that are just, like, we had this very issue. It's like, oh, well, since Leatherface or no guys can get to the van, we're just waiting in there, and there's an objective where it's like, oh, you need to pull exactly these tokens out in order to complete your objective. Yeah. So we were just passing the bag around until...
That happens, yeah.
And then we're pass our turn. Here you go, Dom. Pull tokens. Nope, you didn't do it. Pass our turn. And we were just going to do it eventually, so we're like, you know what? If it doesn't come up in the next, like, 2 pulls, like, we're going to call it anyway because it's going to happen. We just don't want to sit here to do it.
Yeah.
And so I wish there was more clarity. I wish there was more details. Now, granted, I haven't looked at recent FAQs, so I may be wrong on that. But there are some really functional problems.
There is issues. Out of the two, one is more fun than the other for me. But when it comes to meaningful choice, I think Slaughterhouse just has a little bit more.
Without a doubt.
It is because, again, inherently, the board game is a push your luck game. Yes. So it is a lot of luck based on what you're pulling out. Mm-hmm. You kind of know what's in there, but it doesn't change much.
Yeah.
The other thing, too, is both have some arbitrary choices. There's more mitigation in Slaughterhouse.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Much more mitigation. And then, like you were saying, that inherent flaw as well is, again, there's more impact on other players in Slaughterhouse because one person is playing the bad guys, and your decisions that you are making as the trespassers have to be discussed out loud at the table for the Slaughterhouse player to hear. Yeah. So there's no secrecy. He's always listening. Everything I know is going on. Yep. So there is a lot more depth and meaningful choice in the Funko game.
Agreed. So these next two are going to be pretty easy for us. Mm-hmm. So now we have ease of play. So ease of play breaks down to simplicity and familiarity with the mechanism, likelihood to get to the table, mechanism or theme, which theme is same, and which one is easier to understand, learn, to teach. Flat out, the board game is easier, simpler. Press your luck is something that anybody who's played blackjack understands that.
Or just if you're a board gamer and you've played something like Orleans or Quacks at Quedlinburg, you'll be able to pick this up pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's really simple.
Bag building, bag pulling, push your luck aspect.
Yeah, exactly. And I think because of that, it's easier to pull out because of the mechanism, because that's a really easy teach, actually.
Yeah.
I can teach this game in, a couple minutes, if that. Slaughterhouse, you have to really go in depth, and especially the fact that two people, or one person is playing the family, they have to learn a totally different thing, whereas everybody else has to learn how to work together.
You'll be hearing this like later on. We're going to be doing a review a little bit later, live recording of it. But that's the problem with these kind of games with the asymmetry. They're not very easy to teach. Yeah, when we're playing the board game, we have all these different characters. Every character has one special action, which is pretty straightforward if you read it.
Yes.
One person gets to flip a token on the board and put it face up. Yep. Another person could move a little bit more.
Yep.
Another person can do moving
more items or something.
Yeah, or move the truck.
Yeah.
So it's that simplistic when it comes to their asymmetry, but it fits.
Right. Makes sense.
Other than that, whereas in Slaughterhouse, One person has to learn how the family works.
Yep.
They have to know how each of the individual family members work.
Yep.
And then everybody else has to learn how their characters work. So they have it a little bit easier when it comes to the Trespassers, whereas the one player playing the Slaughterhouse family, they have to learn how Grandpa works, or how the old man works, or how Leatherface works, or the hitchhiker, depending on whichever ones you have in there. So it's a bit trickier in that aspect. Yep. But both are pretty simple, especially when it comes to Funko. They don't go heavy-handed when it comes to the rules.
No.
It's just because of the fact that one person has to learn one way, whereas another person has to learn a different way.
Right, exactly. So, obviously, ease of play, we think the board game is easier to play, easier to understand, learn to teach, likelier to get to the table because it does play quicker as well. But that goes into our next segment, which is replay value.
And when we're talking about replay value, we're talking about the length and time and scaling well, the minimum number of plays for the full experience, as well as expandability that already has existing expansions up to one possible future expansions, or anything that's been confirmed by the designer or publisher. Well, unfortunately, neither one of these have an expansion. Neither one of these have, I think Texas Chainsaw, the board game, has like promos.
Maybe.
But that's about it. But most of the time, they don't have an expansion, though you could expand the board game because it's the series.
Yep.
But the big one here is it's scenario-based in Slaughterhouse. So they, out of the game, there's 5 scenarios?
It's 3 to 5, somewhere.
Something like that, yeah. So you can get more bang for your buck when it comes to that one.
Yeah, easily.
Whereas this one is like, your biggest difference is the different characters that you're going to play.
Halfway through the first game, you're going to have the full experience.
Yes.
Yeah. Right.
And it's not just that. Because it's possible through the first game, depending on how many characters die in the game, because you're only allowed 3 characters to die in the board game, you're going to go through a couple characters at a time. You're going to see quite a bit of characters.
Someone's probably going to die at least once.
I think there's, 7 or 8 characters in the game. And so if somebody dies, you automatically get to come back with a new character. All the characters are basically waiting by the van, and then when someone dies, they just come onto the board doing their actions.
No player elimination, which is cool.
That is really neat.
Yep.
But yeah, you're halfway through the first game. You're already going to know the tokens don't change anything. It's just the way they see it on the board.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I will say this. The board game plays indefinitely faster than Slaughterhouse.
Yeah, significantly faster. So this is effectively a wash. But also, I guess we shouldn't downplay it. The extra objective goals does add a little bit of replay to it, but nothing compared to full different scenarios.
Though I also have to say, like, it changes up because it's just flavor text, but the fact that you learn how you die is kind of cool because they're all are very unique. You got put in the hook, or as you said, made into a chili, or my personal death for one of my characters was I got made into a lampshade. so
good.
It's got some good flavor text, but again, it's not very necessary.
Yeah. So Slaughterhouse would definitely get replay. Or no, this would be a wash.
It would be a wash, really, but I would give Slaughterhouse a slight edge just because of the variability.
Yeah, there is more reason to play it.
Now, normally when we do the compare and contrast, we recommend what gamers would like what. So what gamer do you think would like Slaughterhouse?
I think Slaughterhouse would be for people who are already in the industry, already want strategic games, and want to pull something out for their game group that are, again, also in the industry. If you are gamers, Slaughterhouse just makes more sense. Scenarios that make more depth, one versus many,
less co-op.
All that can handle. That's not a problem, and it gives you a rich gaming experience. Also, if you're a fan of like just anything that Funko Games or Prospero Hall does with IPs, then that makes sense.
So for me, like my game recommendations when it comes to Slaughterhouse, if you're into something like Descent, or if you're into something like Trick or Treat Studios Halloween, or Spectre Ops, the one versus many. Another one that they did when they were with Ravensburger at the time, Jaws.
Jaws, yeah.
So,
I agree. Yeah.
So if you're into those style of games, this is for you, or you just don't like pure co-ops, this is how you would get that.
Whereas, of course, if you are playing with anybody who's just really into spooky season or really likes the movie, don't even touch Slaughterhouse.
No, go board
They're
game.
on the board game.
And when you're like thinking game recommendations, if somebody digs like Quacks of Quedlinburg or Orleans and stuff like that, that bag pull, that push your luck, or a blackjack player, I think they would get a kick out of this one just because how simple that mechanism is, and if they're really into spooky season like the movies. If you're really into the Texas Chainsaw Massacres, I recommend board game.
Yes.
Because that one is really going to give you that aspect.
Yep. hands down. Cool. So hopefully this will help you decide on which of those two games, if either of them you want to buy, or even if they are for your taste. That should give you a pretty deep dive into those games. And next spooky season, we'll see what two board games we compare next time.
Last time we did this, we did all the Cthulhu games.
All the Cthulhu. Yeah, it was ridiculous.
It was fun, though.
It was really dumb.
It was.
But it was so good.
It was so good.
So, that's it for our today's episode. If you want to email us directly, you can email us at everydayboardgames2020@gmail.com. And whether that's entering future contests, just say hello, or give us ideas for future episodes. We love recommendations. Also, you can follow us on Instagram.com. I think it's follow, right? Subscribe?
Subscribe.
Whatever. Follow us on the social, Instagram.com/everydayboardgames, where we post what him and I have been playing lately, or whatever else random stuff that we end up posting about.
Yeah, and all video re-uploads and reviews are found under youtube.com/@everydayboardgames. And if you like what we do, there are 3 things you can do to help us grow on the platform. Subscribe if you're not, like the video, and comment down below and tell us your thoughts on the subject.
We also stream our episodes live at twitch.tv/everydayboardgames. Be sure to follow us there so that way you can notify and join in on the conversations like any of the viewers who joined us today, and voice your opinion during our live episodes.
And all audio versions can be found on most podcast platforms under Everyday Board Games Podcast. This includes Spotify, Amazon Music, Podbean, and Apple.
So as always, I've been your host, Daniel.
And I've been your host, Daniel.
And we want to thank you for listening to Everyday Board Games.
Remember, every day is a good day for board gaming, especially spooky season.